Hello once again, Internet! Welcome back to Kokiri Jordan. I'm, of course, Jordan. Did you miss me? Probably not. And that kind of hurts my feelings, I'm not gonna lie. But it's okay, because we are finally getting around to playing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, the greatest video game ever made. Ooh, boy, do I ever love this one. I've been looking forward to this for so long. It is almost single-handedly one of the major reasons why I started this channel in the first place. I have been looking forward to playing this on this channel for so long, and we're finally here. And I believe as of next month this game is going to be 20 years old, so I thought what better way to honor its 20th anniversary than giving it my own personal playthrough. I don't want to get into a lot of the chit-chat. The first episode, Lord knows, is already long enough, as you've probably seen by looking at the playtime on the video already, so I'm just going to get straight into it. Just before I do, though, I'm going to make one more really quick mention of the fact that I'm going to be participating in this year's Extra Life Charity Marathon again. It's on November 3rd. It's a 24-hour gaming marathon. As with all the past years that I've participated, I'm once again this year going to be raising funds for the McMaster Children's Hospital in Hamilton, Ontario. If you just go to your browser and type in extra-life.org/participant/Kokiri Jordan, that'll take you straight here to my page. You can scroll down from there and read my story and what I'm going to be doing for this year. And right there at the top, you can click on the green donate button and that'll get you started. It couldn't be easier. The great thing about it is that no money ever actually exchanges hands. It's all handled digitally online, and 100% of all proceeds go directly to helping kids in need. So if you are both willing and able, please do consider supporting me in my efforts this year. It's as good a cause as they come. Okay, we've got enough to get to in this episode as it is, so let's get to it. Alright, we are finally at long last doing this. I am so excited for this, I can't even begin to tell you. Man, even just the title screen, the way this game opens, it just gets the feels going already, you know? Okay, well, enough chit-chat from me, let's just get into it. So you can see I have one save file from earlier here. If I select that one, it shows that I've got everything collected already. That number there also denotes how many times you've died. So just a little point of pride there. I've died no times in that game file. I don't really know why they thought that was information that anyone would want to know, why that's pertinent to anybody, but anyway. Also, before we get started, let's go down to options here. Yeah, stereo is fine. So Z targeting, you got a choice between switch and hold. I always keep it on switch, and I think that it's on switch by default. Some people prefer hold because for some reason, I don't really understand this myself because I've never struggled with switch at all. But I know a lot of people complain about it. They think that it's hard to, I don't know, control what they're locked onto sometimes, and they can't unlock from certain things if and when they want to. So in that case, they switch over to hold. Hold just basically means anytime you want a Z target, and in case you actually don't know what that is, we'll get into that pretty quickly into the game. But just means that you're going to hold down the Z button on the N64 controller,
in order to remain locked on, and as soon as you let off the button, your targeting will stop. Switch is like a toggle mode, so you just press the button once to lock on, press again to unlock, or if there's multiple targets that you can lock onto, pressing the Z button again and again will toggle back and forth between targets, and if you want to unlock, you just hold down on the control stick and then press Z. It's very easy to do. I've never had a problem with it. In fact, I feel like it works pretty well. But you could try it yourself, experiment with the different modes, see what works best for you. But I'm going to be leaving it on Switch. That's how I like it. So we'll start up a new file. Because I'm really boring, I always just use my own name. This is one of those types of games where your file name isn't just merely a reminder as to what file it is, but also it takes your file name and inserts that into the game as the protagonist's name. So I'm gonna have the game referring to us, the protagonist, as Jordan. And with that, start up a new file. No deaths, obviously, and just 3 hearts right from the beginning. Whew. Getting excited. Here we go. The vast deep forest of Hyrule. Long have I served as the guardian spirit. I am known as the Deku Tree. The children of the forest, the Kokiri, live here with me. Each Kokiri has his or her own guardian fairy. However, there is one boy who does not have a fairy. Navi, where art thou? Come hither. And yes, for the record, that is the same Navi that my cat and this channel's unofficial mascot is named after, is Navi the fairy. There she is. Oh, Navi the fairy. Listen to my words, the words of the Deku Tree. You'll also probably notice, I just want to state this off the bat, that the words that aren't actual real words, like Deku and Kokiri, I may occasionally go back and forth on my pronunciation. I'm just going to apologize for that in advance. It's not really something I'm thinking about. I don't know, say it how it makes sense to me at the time, but sometimes I say Deku, sometimes I say Deku. I think I've already said Kokiri 2 ways. I said Kokiri and I also said Kokiri. And then Hyrule or Hyrule, Hylian or Hylian, Epona or Epona, Saria, Saria, Saraya. There's all kinds of fantasy made-up words for this game that I've heard pronounced a number of different ways. But anyway, just bear with the semantics with me on that. Anyway, getting into that. Listen to my words, the words of the Deku Tree. Dost thou sense it? The climate and evil descending upon this realm. Malevolent forces even now are mustering to attack our land of Hyrule. For so long, the Kokiri Forest, the source of life, has stood as a barrier, deterring outsiders and maintaining the order of the world. But before this tremendous evil power, even my power is as nothing. It seems the time has come for the boy without a fairy to begin his journey. The youth whose destiny it is to lead Hyrule to the path of justice and truth. Navi, go now. Find our young friend and guide him to me. I do not have much time left. Fly, Navi, fly. The fate of the forest, nay, the world, depends upon thee. I love how, like, cinematic and like theatrical it is, and also in a way Shakespearean too. This game does an amazing job of setting mood and creating atmosphere. All right, here we go. I love this. It takes the POV of the fairy flying through the forest. That's great. Whoa! Onto the legs.
Hello.
Yeah, and you're going to have to get used to those sound effects too. You're going to be hearing those a lot throughout the game. Hello, Jordan. Wake up. Well, hi, Navi. The Great Deku Tree wants to talk to you. Jordan, get up. Buzz off, I'm tired. Hey, come on. Can Honorable's destiny really depend on such a lazy boy? It can and it does. You finally woke up. I'm Navi the Fairy. The Great Deku Tree asked me to be your partner from now on. Nice to meet you. The Great Deku Tree has summoned you, so let's get going right now. Okay. This is neat. Every once in a while, not all the time, usually not actually, but sometimes when you're in rooms like this, it'll automatically take a top-down, almost an isometric kind of viewpoint. And then when you exit, it'll go to the regular third person, and then you can swap between first person and third person. Although first person you can't actually move, you can only look around in first person, but we'll get into that as we go. For now, all we can really do is just move with the control stick, basic controls. So we'll exit here. Kokiri Forest. Yahoo! Hi, Jordan. Alright, so you can walk down and up ladders here, and also if you want the blue A button, known as the action button in this game here, you'll notice that it does different things depending on the context. So when you're on ladders, it'll display down, so at any point, if you don't want to walk all the way to the bottom of the ladder, you can just hit down and it'll just jump off. You want to make sure not to jump from too high a height, or you can actually take falling damage, but that wasn't so bad. Anyway, we'll just go over to our friend Saria here, and again, you see now the context changes because we're close to our friend. So the A button now says speak, and also you'll see up in the top left there, Navi, the Navi icon is flashing. You'll notice right away that the three yellowish orangish buttons correspond to the left down and right C buttons on the controller. That's not by accident. There's a purpose for that, and the Navi icon corresponds to the up C button. So anytime that Navi icon is flashing, you can just press the C up button and Navi will talk to you. So let's see what she's got to say. The Great Deku Tree has summoned you. Please come with me. Okay, I'm talking to my friend here. Do you mind? Alright, let's speak. Wow, a fairy. Finally, a fairy came to you, Jordan. Wow, that's great news. I'm so happy for you. Now you're a true Kokiri, Jordan. Well, thanks. Is that right? The Great Deku Tree has summoned you? It's quite an honor to talk to the Great Deku Tree. I know. I'll wait for you here. Get going. Go see the Great Deku Tree. Alright. And here, now signs is another example of the context changing. Now the blue button says check, so you can read signs, for example. Jordan's house. And you also notice too that the these things that you can check out, these points of interest, have these like arrows pointing down to them too, and the color will actually change too depending on the context. So signs and just sort of general points of interest will be like green, and then people and NPCs that you can talk to and stuff will be blue. And then later on, when there are enemies that we can lock onto to attack, those will be, I believe, will be yellow. But anyway, okay, so we can move around, and now you see again the context button changes, or the action button, because now we're moving. It says attack. So, if we press attack, we can do this sort of a roll attack. Also, if you press forward while falling from a great height, you can also do a roll. So I'll see if I can pull that off here. If you push up against things, barriers that are normally, like, you can't pass by, but they're still not high enough. Okay, so we can't hop up onto this fence here because it's the first part of the game, so it wants to teach you to go down the ladder. But let me see if I can just find another place. Oh yeah, first, before I get into that area, if well, the Navi icon isn't flashing, if you press C up, that's how you go into first-person mode. So you can just kind of look around at your surroundings. It's pretty cool. But again, you can't move while you're in this mode. But it's good for, like, looking around to, you know, help yourself reorient yourself, or to look for clues in your environment for solving puzzles, or to look where to go. And it's also going to be important with certain combat elements. It'll help you to aim your attacks as well, particularly with ranged attacks. And then again, now the blue button is turned to return, so you can either press C up to toggle out of there again, or the blue button to return. And before I get into anything else, now you see that there's the green circle next to the blue one, but that's not colored in with anything. That's because at the moment the B button, the green B button, doesn't do anything right now, so I can push that and nothing happens. As is with the rest of the C buttons. They don't do anything right now, again, except for C up. See, I'll press the start button, red start button. That'll take us to the menu here. You'll see we've got 4 menus here. So there's the Kokiri Forest, shows our current position on the map. And gradually, as we explore more of the world, more of that map will fill in, and we'll be able to see more of the overall world. We can scroll left and right through our map with the control stick. And you'll also see on the far left and right edges of the map, there's a Z and an R icon. So that denotes that that's also a quick way of just speeding over to the next left or right screen, is just by pressing the corresponding button. So if I want to go over to the right, I can just press the R button. So this is our quest status screen. There's nothing filled in here either. Again, as we progress through our adventure, that'll get filled in. And then if we go one more to the right, there's our equipment. It shows us and what we've currently got equipped. So currently it's just the Kokiri tunic and the Kokiri boots. And again, it says press A to equip, but they're already equipped, and we can just keep equipping them over and over and over again. So yeah, it says there, the blue button on the top there says to decide. The green button will be to save, and if we want to get out of here without saving, it's just the red return button again, red start button to return. And then there's one more fourth screen over here, select item, and again, that's all empty. Will get filled in gradually, but yeah, so you can just cycle really quickly through all these 4 sub-screens after you press start, and go the other way too, and then again, that's just pressing the Z and R button. You can, with the stick, you know, select all the way over. So yeah, that's not as economical or timely of a way as doing it, but anyway. And so I'll show you how to save tier 2. Again, it's self-explanatory. Would you like to save? Press green to save, and then blue to say yes, and then again to get out of the screen. What else can we do? Now, the R button normally is our block button, but we don't have anything to block with, so right now R isn't doing anything. The L button toggles your maps. I recommend always having your map on. There's not really a very good reason to not have the map on unless you really want to increase the immersiveness of the experience, I guess, but I don't know how much that really helps, considering you can't ever take off your other indicators off the screen, so you're always going to be reminded of your HUD. But anyway, it does that if for whatever reason you wanted to shut it off. And then right now our Z button, and there's nothing to lock on at the moment, so if you just press it, now again I'm on switch mode, not hold, but if I'm not switching because there's nothing to switch to, so it's functioning kind of like hold for the moment. So I'm just kind of pushing it and nothing really happens, but if I push and hold down, it starts me into this sort of mode where it's not POV, it's still third person, but it locks me forward. So now, if I push left and right, instead of me moving like left and right towards that direction, when I hold down Z, left and right will now have me strafe left and right. And then again, attack will, I don't even have to be moving forward now to attack when I'm in that mode. Just standing still will make me do that roll mode. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to show before too. If I jump from somewhere. There's no jump button in this game, at least not per se. I'll show you something that kind of semi-contradicts that in a moment, but there's no jump button per se, just to jump up on the spot or jump forward. If you get to a spot where you can jump, you'll jump automatically. So rushing to the edge of a ledge, let's say, you'll just kind of automatically do this jump off. Now that wasn't far enough for me to roll, but if it's a really far drop down, then to save yourself, just kind of push forward as you land, and you'll do a forward roll that will lessen or even entirely nullify the potential fall damage that you'll take. But and you can also vary the distance that you can jump to. Don't think that the distance is automatic. The jump is automatic, but I can just jump off just a little bit if I want, just a little kind of a drop down like that, right? And also the Z button will recenter me. Recenter the camera directly behind me, so that the camera will be facing the direction that Link is facing, or in this case Jordan is facing. Yeah, see here, look over here. There's a little little drawing that I etched into the base of my treehouse. It appears to be me with a sword and a shield fighting a big Godzilla dinosaur monster. But anyway. What else is there to say for the moment? Oh yeah. So yeah, when I'm moving around, the attack is the roll attack, and also if you time it to roll into things, you can do damage like that. I don't recommend rolling into a lot of enemies, but you can break things with that way, using that technique. And then also, if we hold down Z here for a minute, you can also do this. In addition to the strafing, you'll notice that when I strafe, the action button turns to jump. So you can do these little side jumps. So you can do these little quick maneuvers when you're in combat to help outmaneuver and deke out your opponent. And then the last, so that's one way that you technically can jump. And you can also do this neat backflip maneuver. So just by holding back and walking backwards, and then jumping, you can do a backflip. Forward roll, backflip, forward roll, backflip, side jump. So if you're not used to this game or these controls, I do recommend taking the opportunity while you're in this first opening area of the game to just sort of get used to the controls and how they work. Beyond that, that's about it for now. Once we get a weapon for a B button, once we get a shield to block with, and once we get some items for our C slots, some C button items, then we'll show you how to operate those. Oh, also, now here's an example. I couldn't do it up on my house. I was trying to show you up there, but it wouldn't let me do it with that fence up top. But you'll get to obstacles like this fence that you can't pass through the fence, but if you push into it, you can jump and hop up onto it. And if you're real careful, you can even though it's like a it's like a two-dimensional object, really. Just, I mean, it's an early N64 game. What do you want? Well, maybe not that early. It was 98, I guess. But even so, they're trying to save on polygons. They can't make literally everything a perfectly three-dimensional object, and it serves its purpose. But anyway, the point is that you can walk along surfaces like that as though it were a flat surface. And yeah, you can just jump off them like that too. I'm gonna see if I can find something ledge high enough that I can roll off of. Let's come up here. This might be high enough. Yeah, oh, this will be high enough. I'll go down here. See? So I did a roll forward just because I continued to hold up on the control stick. Now to collect things, there are things hidden, well, not sometimes hidden, but most of the time out in the open too. But one of our first objectives here is going to be to collect some rupees, which is this game's currency. They look like they're different colored gems, basically, or sort of like diamonds or emeralds or something like that. And rupees are pretty important in this game. We need them to buy stuff at shops and trade them for stuff. Anyway, so here's an example in these shrubs. I think we'll be able to find some rupees hidden in here. There we go. There's one. There's two. And you'll see it popped up there when I collected it. That was a green rupee that popped up, and that's the smallest denomination. Green rupees represent a single rupee. So I found two. So you see in the bottom left there, A little indicator shows that I have 2 rupees. And there are many different colors of rupees, and they represent varying amounts and denominations. So I think there's going to be some in the shrubs here as well. We can pick some up there. In this first little part of the game, we're actually going to want to find 40. But anyway, here we can talk to some people too. Let's see what she says. Oh, a fairy finally came to you. Now you have a lot to learn. The best place to go to learn some new skills is in the Forest Training Center. It's on the hill just above here. Okay, we'll go check that out in a minute. First I want to come down here, and this isn't actually an exit to this area, but you'll notice this guy isn't going to let us leave. So if we speak to him, you're not allowed to leave the forest. The great Deku tree said that if a Kokiri leaves the woods, he or she will die. Jeez, don't be too dramatic about it. Let's see what the sign says. Forest folk shall not leave these woods. Okay, fair enough. And then we got some rocks here. So now again the action icon changes to grab. And now that we've grabbed it, we can throw. So if we just, from a standing position, we can just throw it and it'll go as far as it will and break. We can also get it to go maybe a little bit further if we're running and throw at the same time. You can direct your throw that way. For here, however, let's see with this guy here. A by the stone, pick it up. A by the stone, pick it up. Mean old Mido. He made me pick up the rocks in front of his house. So we can move and throw them as well. And here's Mido's house. House of the great Mido, boss of the Kokiri. I'm sure he won't mind if I just walk into where he lives. But, yeah, so anyway. And, yeah, so here's an example. We went in here. It didn't automatically go to that top-down perspective, but we actually can toggle with the C-up button when we're in these areas. Instead of it functioning like switch to a first-person POV, it'll toggle between that view. And that can be sometimes useful, too, if, again, we're not used to an area and not familiar with what's in here, and we want to get a little bit of a better idea of the nature of the actual surroundings. But anyway, so we've got some chests in here, and we can just open these. So again, approach a chest from the front. If you approach from the side or from the back, you won't be able to open it. You've got to be from the proper side, and then the A button action icon changes to open. So again, it's all about context with this button. A button functions a lot of different ways in this game. I love that animation if you just stand there for a while as idle animation. Okay, so A to open the chest. Let's see what we got in here. It's a heart. We got a recovery heart. Your life energy is recovered, so that replenishes 1 empty heart. Obviously our health is still at full, so we didn't have to worry about that. But let's see what the other chests have got. Ah, blue rupee. That's 5 rupees. So that's 5 green ones. So that's not too shabby. Another blue rupee. Good stuff. And I think this one's just a green one. Just a green, yep. So look at that. We're up to 15 rupees already. Excellent. And I think if we go around the back here, we can climb up on this ledge here. Link can only jump up so high. Yeah, there's a blue rupee hiding behind there. And then there's also occasionally you'll find these surfaces that look kind of with this rough texture, sort of like vines. You can actually, just by pushing into them, climb right up them the same way that you could with a ladder. Now I'm not actually going to go in here, but this is just to indicate that there's an area back here later. I'm not going to waste too much time right now, but this is the Lost Woods. So this is one way that we kind of can get out of the forest, but to start... any route that we take while we're in the Lost Forest will actually just kind of spit us right back out the same way we came. It's kind of an unbeatable maze for the time being. And then you'll also find these little guys scattered throughout the world. The statue's one-eyed gaze pierces into your mind, but that's all it says for now. Ooh, very ominous. Those are known as gossip stones. And eventually, at some point in the game, we'll have accomplished something that will allow us to actually speak to those stones, and they'll give us clues and little bits of, well, gossip, as its name implies. Okay, so she was telling us about the house of the Know-It-All Brothers up on top of the hill, so let's go check that out. I think this is a house of the Know-It-All Brothers. Let's go in and see what they've got to say in here. Alright, so here's one guy. Speak. If you want to learn about the map and items, just ask me. But don't ask unless you want to hear a long explanation. What do you want to know about? About the map, about items, or don't ask? Okay, so there's a map displayed at the bottom right of the screen. The yellow arrow shows your current position and direction you are facing. The red mark shows where you entered the area from. That's actually, I know that sounds very rudimentary, but it actually is very useful. You can turn the map display on and off with the L. I said that already. If you want to see the name of a place, press Start. Go to the map screen. You'll get in the subscreen, select the map subscreen. Okay, I'm a little bit ahead of this guy. On the map subscreen, you can see Map of Hyrule. Did you get all that? Yeah, let's talk to him again here. If you want to learn about the map and items, just ask me, but don't ask. Let's see what's here. Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes you can kind of skip what they're saying by pressing the B button. Here, I'm going to go down to don't ask. I'm just going to show you there. Well, just remember this. If you want to save, press start to get into the subscreens. Then press B. I covered that already. I'm just going to show you here one example. If there's a lot of... I'm going to try to read most of the text in this game, but occasionally I might skip it if it's something we've already heard, or if I feel like it's not really pertinent and I just want to kind of get on with the rest of the game. You'll see this here. You can just press B and it'll just kind of skip all the way to a point where some sort of a checkpoint in the conversation. Okay, we'll go down and ask about items now. So there are three kinds of items: equipment items, C button items, and quest items. Equipment items are things like the sword, shield, and clothes that are effective when you equip them. C button items can be set to the left, down, and right C buttons and used by pressing those buttons. And quest items are things you collect during your adventure. You just carry them around. If you want to change equipment or just check on your inventory, press start. You will get into the subscreens. Switch to one of the 4 different subscreens with Z or R and change or check items as you please. Take a look around. When you decide to equip an equipment item, press A. For C button items, press left, down, or right C buttons. That's a pretty long explanation. Did you understand everything? Yeah, okay, no need to be cocky about it. Also, there's a couple of pots here. Again, by getting close to these, you can pick them up the same way that you could with the rocks outside. And these ones, sometimes there's a benefit of them being stuff inside, usually rupees. So if you throw those in... well, okay, I wasn't expecting it to clip through the goddamn wall. That's a first. But normally they smash like that. You can collect the rupee. Alright. That was hilarious. Il-Timey, you know I'm trying to record a video for the internet here, guys, right? Making me look like an idiot. Anyway, let's see what this guy's got to say. Do you want to know how to use the up button? Okay, we'll go through this. Even though I already explained this. Press up, you can change your view. In a place like this, it will switch to a top-down view. Outdoors, in a field, for example, it will switch to a first-person perspective. Also, when Navi is displayed in the upper right of your screen, Navi the fairy wants to talk to you, use up to listen to her. Yeah, okay, I explained all that already. And then there's one other brother here. I can teach you about the icons at the top of the screen, about the yellow icons, about the blue icons. So the yellow icons, the 3 yellow icons in the upper right are called C icons. They display the things you can use with the left, down, and right buttons. Once you get a C button item, go into the select item subscreen and set it to one of the 3 C buttons. Okay. And what has it got to say about the blue icon? The blue icon at the top of the screen is called the action icon. This action icon shows you what action you will perform when you press A. Stop in many spots to see the different things you can do. Alright. Thanks for the rupee, jerks. Alright, let's get out of here. Before I go into this little area here, here's a sign. Forest Training Center. Don't recklessly cut signs. Read them carefully. Alright, I'll come back to that area. I want to explore the forest a little bit more here first. Let's see. I think I got the rupees hidden in there. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that rupees in areas like this will respawn once you go into something like a house and then return. They'll respawn. But we'll talk to this girl here. Oh, you have a fairy now. That's great, Jordan. What? You've been called by the great Deku Tree? What an honor. He may give you a special gift, Teehee. That's because the great Deku Tree is our father, the forest guardian, and he gave life to all of us Kokiri. Alright. This is a neat little trick here. These platforms here, if you just jump across them perfectly in quick succession, you get, I think, 5 rupees. So we'll do that, and like that, and then like that. Actually, I think now that we're on the other side, I think this sign tells you exactly that. Stepping stones in the pond. If you boldly go in the direction you want to jump, you will leap automatically. If you hop around on the stones, you'll become happier. Okay, so it alludes to getting a little bonus here. There's a shop over here. We'll come back to this. If you go around here now, see here, there's water. Luckily, this is one of those games where you actually can go in the water and you don't just automatically drown, and you can swim around and stuff like that. And then you can also dive in the water. Again, the action button is changed because the context is different. So if we press and hold dive, and you'll see that it changed to some numbers kind of counting down. Yeah, you can hold dive, or if I press and just let go immediately, then I'll basically just surface again immediately. So if I want to go lower, you have to actually hold the dive button down. Of course, this isn't a very deep little pond area, so there's not very far that I can dive anyway, but those numbers correspond to how many seconds, basically, that I can hold my breath underwater for, and therefore how far underwater I can dive. But and then just by pressing up against some areas, you can just climb your way out of the water again, and then hop back on and across them like that and stuff like that. Alright, over here, we've got our friend Mido. Hey you, Mr. No Fairy, what's your business with the Great Deku Tree? Without a fairy, you're not even a real man. You'll eat those words, boy. What? You've got a fairy? Say what? The Great Deku Tree actually summoned you? What? Why would he summon you and not the Great Mido? This isn't funny. I don't believe it. You aren't even fully equipped yet. How do you think you're going to help the Great Deku Tree without both a sword and shield ready? What? You're right, I don't have my equipment ready, but if you want to pass through here, you should at least equip a sword and shield. Sheesh. So obviously that's all but spelling it out for us, that's what we have to do in order to pass by him. If we come over this little way here, see there's like a little... see a small mound of soft soil here. You're going to see a number of these soil mounds again throughout the world. Those are going to become important later on, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't want to explain too much before it's necessary. Let's go over this way first. Here's another house. Check, this is House of the Twins. Let's go in this way. Okay. Oh, one of the twins is in here. My sister took some rupees and went shopping at the store that has a red roof. Teehee? That's not funny! Speaking of rupees, a green one is worth 1, a blue one is worth 5, and a red one is worth 20. Hee hee! Again! Failing to see the humor. And anyway, we got a couple of pots in here, so I'm sure that you won't mind if I just take your life savings. Look, I'm on a quest, lady, alright? I need it more than you do. There's rupees out lying literally everywhere. You can find more whenever you want. Alright, over here, let's see this dude here. That meanie Mino made me cut the grass at Saria's house. Mino told Saria he would do it so she would like him. But I'm the one doing all the work. You and Saria are close friends, so will you help me cut the grass? I'll let you keep anything that you find while cutting it. Is that meant to be an innuendo? Yeah, so we can't cut it right now, but again, grab, but you'll see that we can't actually do it. But we'll be able to cut it once we gain the means to do so. Okay. And this is Saria's house, I believe. Saria's house right next to mine. We'll go in here, and there's some hearts here. Well, I don't know. We don't really need to pick them up, but whatever. You can leave them for later if you want to have a stash. Those ones actually don't replenish themselves. But oh yeah, this is interesting too. Every once in a while, you'll get to like an example like that where the camera will kind of automatically take over and keep you centered like that, just to kind of help you see where you're going. I don't know if that's actually helpful or not. Some people might not like that, but anyway. And there's also a couple of hearts up there if you want to replenish your health. You can go up there too. Alright, I'm going to be careful walking across this bridge not to fall off. And again, if it helps you, keep yourself centered so that it's easier to stay on. And there's another blue rupee hiding up here. And there's another Kokiri girl up here as well. Hee hee hee, you came all the way up here? You're a real man. Oh well, shucks, it was nothing. Look, isn't this view pretty? Change your viewpoint with up so you can look around the forest with the stick. Ooh. Yes, very lovely area. Ah! Okay, I did it. Oh, she says the exact same thing. Alright. Yeah, you'll notice there too, so that was an example of me locking on with Z. I didn't really talk about that. I talked about some of the Z functions, but I didn't really talk about the actual locking on. That's because there's another kind of mini tutorial up ahead that will explain that. But if I have one of those arrows that's being displayed, and you'll notice that Navi the fairy kind of flies over and circles around the target as well, so that indicates you can lock onto something. So just press Z and that locks on, and now when that happens you'll notice that I will strafe and circle around whatever the target is, and it also moves into that mode as though I'm holding down Z without being locked on anything. But anyway, I'm going to come back this way, and then back over this way to what the one Kokiri was talking about, the shop with the red roof. That's this here. Check, that's the Kokiri shop. We have original forest goods. And up here, see if we get close here. She stops me and says, "Hi, Jordan, look this way." This is the tutorial question. Look over here with Z and talk to me with A. So I can't get close enough to her to talk to her like I was doing before talking to people without actually locking on. So the only way that I'm able to talk to her is by pressing Z to lock on, and now I can speak. Yes, yes, that's how you use a fairy. It's so great that you finally have a fairy partner. I hope that's not meant to be read sarcastically. It's so great that you finally have a fairy partner. Shut up, lady, I'm new to this. I'll teach you how to talk to people using your fairy. Yeah, I think I just figured it out. Okay, fine. Tell me what I already know. When a fairy flies near a person or thing, press Z to look in that direction. If you use Z targeting, you can talk to people from a distance, like we're doing now. When you have nothing that you can target, you can press Z just to look forward. Try it. Yeah, we did that already. Alright. And oh yeah, also, yeah, so here's an example of if I just press Z again, I'll unlock or untarget, but I can also do that by pressing, I was mentioning before we started the file, by pressing back and Z. That also unlocks me. Let's see if I can get to a situation where I can lock onto multiple things. Maybe if I angle myself like this between the sign and the girl, that might work. No, I can't even lock onto the sign from here either. Maybe if I get like this? No. Okay, well, there'll be other examples later, but you'll see what I mean. Let's see what she wants. The Great Deku Tree has summoned you. Please come with me. Yeah, that happens every once in a while. If you take too long getting to whatever your main objective is, Navi will pop up every once in a blue moon just to remind you what it is that you're meant to be doing overall. Anyway, let's go into the shop here. We've got 39 rupees. And actually, there's a little secret here. If you go around the corner, there's a blue rupee hidden back there. So that'll help us. Let's see what she wants. This shop, it sells things you can get in the forest for free. Tee-hee. Do you know how to use the Deku Shield? Tee-hee. Stop laughing at me! When you get the shield, press start to get in the subscreen. Select the equipment subscreen with Z or R. On the equipment subscreen, choose the item you want to equip and press A to equip that item. Once you equip it, hold it with R and change its angle with the control stick. Tee-hee, again, work on your material. Welcome, this guy can barely see where the counter. That's funny. Shop by moving left to right. So basically all the shops operate exactly the same way. There'll be a guy running the shop that you talk to in order to buy stuff, and then you'll have these options: talk to the owner or quit, and then you can just move left and right to see the wares that they have to sell on the shelves. So let's talk to this guy first. So he's got to say, we sell shields but not swords. Okay, good to know. So let's see what we got over here. Deku Seed, 30 pieces for 30 rupees. You can use them as bullets for your slingshot. You can't buy them unless you have a slingshot. We don't, so we can't buy them yet. Arrows, 30 pieces for 60 rupees. You need a bow to use them. Use them and you'll run out. Again, no bow yet. Recovery heart, 10 rupees. This will instantly refill one heart container, and that's the same as the arrows. That's only 10 pieces for 20 rupees. So there's different stacks that you can purchase items in occasionally. Deku Shield, 40 rupees. Once equipped, you can defend with R. If set on fire, it will burn because it's made out of wood. So that's actually what we came here for, and what we wanted to collect a minimum of 40 rupees for was we want to get a shield. But let's just take a look at what else they've got here. Togonauts, 10 pieces, 30 rupees. Throw them to stun your enemies. You can buy only the amount you can actually carry. So these are a very useful item, but we're not going to buy any because we can just find them. And Deku Sticks, same deal. One piece, 10 rupees. That is a serious ripoff. 10 rupees for a single stick. A long branch gathered from the Great Deku Tree. You can use it as a weapon, but it will break. And then again, just another amount of Deku nuts. Okay, so let's buy us the Deku Shield. A to select Deku Shield, and again, you're always giving these options: buy or don't buy. So we'll go to buy. Got a Deku Shield. Switch to the equipment subscreen and select the shield. Press A to equip it. Press R to crouch and defend. If you press R while Z targeting, you can move while defending. Like to buy something else? No. Alright, let's get the hell out of here. Okay, so now that we're out of here, press start to go into our subscreen, and we will go over to the equipment subscreen and select the Deku Shield that we just purchased and press A to equip it. And there we go. Now we got a shield. And we'll save while we're here. There's not really any reason to not save, so I recommend saving often. But anyway, so now you'll see we've got it equipped to our back there. If we press R, we will crouch and block. And while we're in that position, then if we move the control stick around, we can kind of angle our shield, right? And then again, if we're locked onto something like this, and then we hold the shield. Okay, apparently we can't get away from those signs very far before it unlocks us, but you'll see we don't crouch when we hold up our shield. We stand, and we can actually move around and defend ourselves that way, and then do these oh, I meant to do a backflip, but I guess I can't do that while it's reading as checked. But I don't have to be locked onto something too. I can just hold down Z and do a cool backflip while I'm holding the shield. You can do the side hops and stuff like that too as well. So yeah, pretty basic stuff. Okay. We don't have to do this, but I'm going to just show how this will now change the conversation a little bit now that we've got that equipped. Mido's basically just going to be like, oh yeah, nice shield, but you still don't have a sword. If you want to pass through here, you should at least equip a sword and shield. Sheesh. Oh no, he didn't. Okay, never mind. I thought he was going to change what he said. There's a sign here that we haven't read. It said Great Deku Trees Meadow. Yeah, that's where we want to get eventually. But so now we got to find a sword somehow. So this is the first sort of hidden thing in the game. I remember the first time I played this game, and it took me so long to figure out what the hell to do, where I was even supposed to go to find this. I got so frustrated because I couldn't even figure out how to get out of this first area. But anyway, we'll come all the way to here. Hole of Z, or Z. Let's go through the small hole. In front of the hole and push the stick towards it. When the action icon shows enter, press A to crawl into the hole. Pay attention to what the action icon says. Will do. Alright. So yeah, so there's this little sign of secret hole. But yeah, eventually, occasionally here you'll see it put away. That just makes Navi kind of hide back in wherever it is she hides your hat, I guess. If you're just standing still and press A, it'll bring her out again. It's kind of a neat little thing just to give you some more things to do. You know, having fun just pushing buttons and stuff like that. Anyway. There, we were facing it properly so we can enter, and it automatically crouches us down into here, but now we just kind of stop moving, so we've got to ourselves now manually push forward to crawl through this tiny hole. I think we can crawl backwards too. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. But anyway, we'll push forward until we come out the other side here. Into the secret little area here. The Hole of Zed. Okay, what do we got here? Sign. Viewpoint with Z targeting. When you have no object to look at, you can just look forward with Z, stop moving, and then change the direction you're facing. Hold down Z for a little while. Help you get oriented in the direction you want to face. It's quite convenient. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You can walk sideways. Okay, I've already explained all this. Anyway. Yeah, so, yeah, that's why it's pertinent to learning that in this area is because you always want to know what's coming around that corner if there's that Indiana Jones-style rolling boulder. Luckily, it somehow is sentient enough to just make a hard left turn before it crashes into us. But behind us here, we got another blue rupee here. And then one of these plants again. We can grab them, but we still can't really pull them out. We're not strong enough to do that yet. But anyway, run quickly down this way, pick up some rupees in the shrubbery along the way. There's another hidden green. And we'll wait for the boulder to pass by there. That's safe to move. And then just on our right here is what we wanted. Visit the house of the Know-It-All Brothers to get answers to all your... Yeah, okay, I was there already. That's not pertinent to this chest here. Now, you'll remember the little chest that we found earlier in, I think it was Mido's house? Little chests that come up basically just to our waist, and we just sort of kick them open. But this is the first big chest like this. And it kind of triggers kind of a big deal sort of an animation here. And for good reason, because these big chests always do hold special items that are more important than just rupees. You got the Kokiri Sword on the equipment subscreen. Select it with the cursor and equip with the A. This is a hidden treasure of the Kokiri, but you can borrow it for a while. Be sure to practice with it before you really fight. Neat. Oh, okay, so we finally got a sword. So, let's equip it. There it is. Kokiri Sword. Equip. So now, you'll see it's equipped on us. Excellent. So now, you'll also notice now that the green icon at the top has filled in with our Kokiri Sword. That will almost always show whatever your sword is that you have equipped. On rare occasions, it might show something else, which, again, we'll tackle that when we come to it. But by and large, B button is basically your default sword attack button. So if we press B, you'll see we automatically draw it and do a slashing motion all in the same motion. Oh, look at that, this stop idle motion. You're just kind of flaunting it around and looking at it. And now you'll see back here we can do things like cut grass now. And we can even cut signs too. That's great. And if we're holding still, see if we move forward, we'll still do the roll attack though. And the B button will slash. But and if we're holding still, and then the A button will now put the sword away. So we'll do that for the time being. Also, the sword will put away automatically when you're performing certain objects that require you to have, or when you're performing certain tasks, I meant to say, while you're holding the sword. So for example, entering this hole now, we can't do that while we're holding the sword, so if we try to do that and then hit enter, we'll automatically resheath our sword. Anyway, we'll crawl back out of here. And now this little area here is good for explaining some of the sword techniques and stuff. Hey, let's work on some moves. To jump sideways while Z targeting, press A as you move right or left. Yeah, I explained all this already. To do a backflip while Z targeting, press A as you move backwards. To do a roll attack while Z targeting, press A as you move forward while you roll. You can avoid damage. If you have your sword ready while Z targeting, you can do a jump attack by pressing A. A jump attack does double damage. You can use Z targeting on the stone next to me, so let's practice. So if we can target... Oh yeah, okay, so here's a good example here. Just by pressing Z, I just toggle between the two targets. So one way to deselect our target if we want, we can actually just move out of range. Though some objects have a greater range than others, so it can sometimes be frustrating. It feels like you're moving further and further and further away, and you're like, Jesus, unlock already. But again, all you gotta do is just hold back and then press Z, and you deselect it. Again, not a big deal. It seems to be the biggest complaint that people have about Z targeting, with the switch option. I mean, if you like hold better and hold works better for you, all power to you. But personally, I think switch is better, just because like it does allow you to do that toggling back and forth between targets like that. Whereas hold, I find, is a little bit more unreliable, because if you're locked onto something, right, and then you let go of Z to deselect it, but then press Z again, there's a chance that you're just going to reselect the same thing again. With the switch, you're already locked on, so there's only one other option, which is to toggle. So I think it's useful for that. But anyway, and again, now that we're locked on, yeah, we got a little bit more better range here than we had when I was showing you with the sign. So we can do this here. And then again with the sword out, it's the same thing. So you'll see here, if I'm not locked onto something, pressing B does this horizontal slash. But while I'm locked on, it does a vertical slash. You'll also notice too that if I hit the B button in rapid succession, on the third one, the third attack, you do this additional slash, special slash in the opposite direction, and it works with the vertical slashes too. You do this upward slash, which is neat too. And then, like he was saying, here actually, I'm gonna unselect there so I can put the sword away. You'll see again, our attack is still the roll. Because, oh, look at that, we got some bonus rupees just for doing a backflip. That's pretty neat. But, yeah, without the sword equipped, then our attack is still the roll. But with the sword equipped... oh, yeah, also, by pressing forward, I do a stab attack. So there's that. But then if I'm standing still and then just press A, you do this jump attack. And like you said, that does double damage. Of course, the trade-off is that it makes you slightly vulnerable for a moment. You can't protect with your shield. Again, you can't attack while you're Z targeting and holding up your shield. You can't attack while in that position. You have to release R and drop your guard momentarily to get in a couple of swipes. Also, you can still do vertical or horizontal swipes while you're in the various modes. Like I said, if you're not targeted, and pressing B will do horizontal, but if you press forward and B, you can still do a vertical. And then if you're locked on, just holding or pressing B will do the vertical. But if you hold left or right, you can do horizontal. And you can actually do left or right, depending on the direction you hold the stick. So it actually gives you a lot of options there. You can only do the stab when you're locked on, though. And you don't actually, again, you don't have to necessarily be locked on. You can just be holding down Z. Again, hang on, let me get away from something to lock on. You can just be holding down Z, but again, you've got to be holding Z or in locked mode, basically, and press forward and then B in order to do the stabbing McStabberson move. So yeah, this is a good little area just to practice around with your different techniques and abilities here. Check, switch targeting, yeah, that's what that's good for, blah blah blah. I'm not even going to bother reading that. It just explains everything that I already explained, how you can toggle between targets and stuff like that. And also there's one other technique that you should know about, that's the spin attack. There's two ways to pull off the spin attack. The most easy way is to simply hold down the B button. So by doing so, again, the initial B button press will do a slash, but then by continuing to hold it down, it'll put you into this spin attack stance. And you'll see, well, I'm still holding down the B button. It's not like a toggle or anything. I'm still holding the button. And while in that stance, you can, again, very slowly move around with the stick, but facing the one direction. And you don't stop doing that until you pull off your maneuver by simply releasing the B button. And you'll do that spin attack. And you'll see, too, that the amount of times that you spin can be determined by how long you've held the B button down. So here, I'm not holding it down for very long, so I'm just doing the one spin. But you may have noticed that first time that I did it there, I think I actually pulled off 2 spins. There we go, right? So that's the most basic way to do it. The other way is a little bit more tricky, but it's also quicker to do, so it depends on what's most appropriate for your situation, is if you quickly rotate the control stick and then press B. So it should look like this. Nope. No. Yeah, see, it took me a couple times to do it. it's a little bit more tricky to pull off. But it's sometimes better to use that technique when you're right in the heat of battle, whereas holding down the button is when you can afford to take the time. So I'll just show it in action here. Sandwiched between these two guys, but we took them all both out at the same time. Progress with your sword. Yeah, so we did that already, and you can also cut the signs here. I'll show you what a jump attack looks like here. Oh, what? I forgot we can't jump attack the signs because unless we're not locked in onto them, if we get far away that we're not locked on. Let me read what the sign says here first. Thrust attack signs. Oh, well, we can do that anyway. Thrust attack. Look at that, and it gives us... we did what it wanted us to do, so it gave us a little reward there. But we can also get far away that we're not locked on, hold down Z, and then move forward. And that's sort of a way of tricking the system. That way we can be in Z target mode without actually targeting it. And now this way we can pull off a jump attack. Like that. Look at that. That's the whole thing down. Alright. So, that was a very long tutorial, but there's just so many things that you can do in the game that it's important to take the time to explain it all and give yourself an opportunity to practice and get comfortable with the controls, because especially, again, when you're in the heat of combat, you're going to want to be comfortable. Alright. Let's go back to our friend Mido here. If you want to see the Great Deku Tree, you should at least equip a sword and shield. Hey, what's that? Oh, you have a Deku Shield. And what's that? Is that the Kokiri Sword? Good grief. Well, even with all that stuff, a wimp is still a wimp, huh? You're gonna get it, buddy. I, the Great Mido, will never accept you as one of us. Shoot, how did you get to be the favorite of Saria on the Great Deku Tree, huh? Grumble, grumble. Alright, finally moves off. Alright. Again, there's like lots of examples of this where like you can still talk to people after they've done it, and sometimes they may say things that are different, and sometimes they won't. This game series is already going to be long enough as it is, so there might be stuff like that, little hidden stuff or Easter eggs, if you will, or just extra bonus stuff that I might be skipping over just in the interest of time, so I'm not going to bother keep talking to everybody multiple times. Now as we make our way through here, the first enemies we've engaged, and you'll see again that we've got these arrows again that we can target with, and again they're yellow. So again, so here you can toggle. Now it's for the first time. We're going to be able to actually exert our combat, and it's good first enemies because they're not actually going to attack, at least not actively. If we get too close, they'll harm us and do damage. Alright, so I'll show you here. I'll just do that on purpose. So it took half the heart of damage. And you'll notice this too is that one of the benefits, you don't have to lock on enemies in order to attack them, but you'll need to practice your skill a little bit in order to like get comfortable with aiming properly. But targeting, you'll obviously be locked right on, so your aim will be for the most part pretty darn accurate. But there's of course the added advantage of locking on is that you'll notice that when you're locked on, your Navi icon blinks. So by pressing the up button there, Navi gives you some information about the enemy that you're locked on. So it gives you the name of the enemy as well as either just some trivia, or usually it'll actually be some advice on how to approach. So though it looks withered, it will hurt you if you touch it. Right, good advice. So we'll just bring in our sword here. Again, we can't roll into this enemy and damage it. We've got to cut it with our sword. So just like that. And now it withered automatically into a Deku Stick, and we can pick it up. We've got a Deku Stick. On the select item subscreen, you can set it to left, down, or right. Set it to C and swing with C. When you want to put it away, stand still and press A. You can carry up to 10 sticks, but don't waste them. Alright, so we'll take this guy out here first, and again, pick up a stick. And before we get to the third guy here, I'll just show you how this works now. Press start, go into our subscreens, go over to the select item, and finally we've got an item on our item screen. So we can go over to select the Deku Sticks, and now to equip them we can press left, down, or right, and that will equip it to the corresponding button. Again, we can do it with anyone we like, so it's kind of a nice little way of customizing our playstyle, as it's whatever we get comfortable with. So I'll put it to left for now, and we'll escape out of here. I always save when I escape. I just like to get in that habit, but it's up to you. And oh, apparently these enemies respawn. So that's a good way to farm some sticks if you wanted to do that. I'll show you too how these work, just by pressing the corresponding button that we assigned it to. You'll see we automatically put away the sword. That's another example of that happening. But we pull this stick out here. And by continuing to press the corresponding button, now that it's out, we'll be able to swing it. And actually, I think it operates exactly the same way as the sword does. Although we can't do horizontal swings, they're only vertical swings, it looks like. But I think we can do, we can do a jump attack with the stick and stuff like that. And we can't do a stab attack, though. But anyway, you'll notice, though, that the thing with the Deku Sticks is they're extremely brittle, so we can try attacking with them. But it's apparently to no avail. And anyway, depending on the surface that you get up against, if you bang up against like a wall like this, it'll actually break the stick. See that? So now we've only got the two. So we'll try bringing out another one. What you can do, though, is you can save your sticks, though, by simply standing still and then the put away. So you can save your stick that way. But no matter. We'll just farm a couple more. And this last guy here, we'll do a jump attack. Now again, we don't want to make sure we're not too close when we pull off a jump attack, because we'll end up just jumping right into him. So this also takes a little bit of practice just to get used to the amount of distance that you need. That's about good. Jump attack, and there you go. Okay. We made it. Great Deku Tree. I'm back. Oh, Navi, thou hast returned. Jordan, welcome. Listen carefully to what I, the Deku Tree, am about to tell thee. Thy slumber these past moons must have been restless and full of nightmares. As the servants of evil gain strength, a vile climate pervades the land and causes nightmares to those sensitive to it. Verily, thou hast felt it. Jordan, the time has come to test thy courage. I have been cursed. I need you to break the curse with your wisdom and courage. Dost thou have courage enough to undertake this task? Yes, of course. You can select no, and this is one of those silly things with games. It's really meant just to immerse you a little bit more in that role-playing element of the game. But ultimately, this is a superfluous choice because you can keep saying no all you like. It's not actually going to matter because it's just going to trap you in a loop until you eventually agree to help them. But anyway, we're the hero of the game, of course. Of course we're going to help, yes. Then enter, brave Jordan, and thou too, Navi. Navi the fairy, thou must aid Jordan. And Jordan, when Navi speaks, use up to listen well to her words of wisdom. Yes, I know. Alright, so we're literally going to walk into this guy's mouth and do battle to apparently save him from a curse. Sounds wild. And we're going to do that on next episode. Stay tuned till then.